If you're worried about your job with where the market is going, I want you to think at a macro level. So there are loads of opportunities out there. Yes, I understand companies are laying people off because anybody's technological advancement means somebody's technology is obsolete in the short term. And we are not a pool of people in the world as a fixed pool with a fixed number of jobs, and then AI or tech or whatever you want to say is going to come in and eat those jobs away. AI is going to take my job. Well, that's ridiculous. AI in the short term is going to make companies make changes, and some people in the short term are going to lose their jobs. Okay. Except that AI itself is a catalyst to expand this pool. Think of us and AI or us and tech, whatever you want to call it. We expand as a group because there are more jobs created. I could not do this without the internet. So let's go backwards. When you think about, well, what happens? Okay, remember way back in the 90s where, the internets came out and it was becoming popular. And we were all thinking, this is so great because we're going to have access to more information. And that's true. Except when you're looking, you look in the feedback loop, you look in the echo. I always say that when you're focusing on something, I want you to look at the shout. I'm shouting right now, but the result of what happens from the shout is in the feedback loop. You're going to take it. There's going to be a ripple. There's 120 some odd of you here, and you're going to take my words and you're going to go off and you're going to do something with it, hopefully valuable, right? I'm making a positive impression. Well, when you look at the internet, can anybody tell me what happened when the internet came up? Do we not have the most attention deficit disorders ever? ADD and ADHD? Right. Okay. More information, less attention. All right, then what happened? Social media came about. Wasn't that supposed to bring us together? Right. What happened? Do we not have the most loneliness ever recorded in the history of ever? Okay. AI comes about. All right. What about AI? Well, AI comes in waves. There's the new wave, which is like the ChatGPT, and all of a sudden I'm talking to it. But then there's the actual implementation of the agentic and the mechanics and the engineering and other things that get catalyzed. Right. Okay, well, when that happens, what happens? So some jobs go away, but then it creates different kinds of views in other jobs. And then the adoption. So, well, I need tech companies to build the chips and so on and so forth. But then I also need energy companies and data construction companies. I have put a ton of my personal money in the energy and utility sector. Why? Because that's the feedback loop. That's the echo. Because we need the chips. We need the data centers. We need the operations. We need construction. We need the power to operate it, and so on. Okay. When you think about AI itself and you look at, well, what do I think is going to happen? Well, in order for you personally to grow, you need friction. The problem with AI in the first wave is what's happening is it's taking away a lot of friction for problem solving, writing, and all of these other things. It's making us stupider at that level because now people don't have writing skills. They can't even think straight. They can't do anything without talking to one of those tools. It's like, how did I live ever without this thing? Okay, well, when you do that, you are creating, number one, bad scenarios for yourself. But what's on a lot of your minds is my job going to go away in the short term? And here's how you determine that. When you look at the tech itself, if it replaces the source of the knowledge, you're hosed. Okay? So what do I mean? Well, if you're the person, the taxi driver, remember when Uber came out? All of a sudden, any idiot with a phone could hop in the cab and drive you there. Well, those cabbies in the city of Chicago, where I would hop in a cab because everything's all crazy there, or London or wherever, New York, crowded cities. Well, they had knowledge. Those cabbies spent decades learning the streets and the shortcuts and the whatever. But the minute the tech came, anybody could take that job. That's how you know your job's going away. Okay. But you might say, well, Andy, how's the job search coaching stuff going now with all this AI stuff? I don't know. I do fewer resume reviews. I don't even care about that. I don't even want to do the resume review. I would rather you write your own resume. What am I doing a hell of a lot of? I don't care what you do. I don't care what chat, whatever you talk to. There is no way you're going to be able to do as well in an interview by yourself than when you talk to me, because you have to communicate. There is no replacing my ability to work directly with you to prepare you to communicate and to teach you how to communicate. You could be talking to anything you want online. It's never going to happen. I'm not worried about becoming obsolete. So I focus my business. I focus on what I teach you, on the stuff you can't get elsewhere, that you absolutely rely on me. That's why we talk so much about interviewing and negotiation and all of these things. I don't really care about resume writing. I really don't. I can still whip your resume together. But that to me that's not where I'm going. I wrote a book on communication because that problem is never going away. It will never become obsolete. Signal strength will never be obsolete, ever. It won't, no matter what's created. That's how you know. So if you want to see around the corners, I don't have a crystal ball, but I know where my money goes. It's going into energy and utilities. And why have those stocks done so well in the last year? And then you take a bunch of profits and then you allocate them into something else. So Carlo, I wouldn't be worried. And I think it's more of a, you have this internal worry that's more about the myths than it is about reality. My guess is you don't have enough data points to prove your theory. I always like to say to people who believe anything, test that theory and note the results. But you also need to make sure that you're testing it with viable variables and viable inputs. And if you're not getting the outcome that you want, you check your inputs, not the outputs. So if you're not getting seen by hiring officials, then you're either not reaching out to them directly, or if you are reaching out to them directly, you're not making a valid case of why they should talk to you, or you're reaching out to the wrong people, or there's something broken in the input. But I wouldn't be worried about getting overlooked. That's the last thing I think about. I think about getting to the right person and making the right case and communicating the right way effectively. You all do that, you'll be in great shape. You really will.